This is one of the only Supernanny episodes to have been pulled from television.
Mum ain't smart, stupid. But I love being stupid.
I told you already that I've done it!
Joshua!
I just can't go with them, and they've just had enough, really.
Hello, you gorgeous donut. Supernanny is a TV show in which Joe Frost, the self-proclaimed Supernanny, goes into homes where children are terrifying their parents, and the parents' last option is to call Joe Frost and try and fix their evil spawns of Satan. Maybe comparing them to the devil is a little bit far from me. Now, Supernanny gives herself a week to turn the lives of these families around, and in this specific episode, this was actually pulled from television because the children were so bad in it. Before Supernanny arrived, even their own mother seems to have given up on them. Judging by the YouTube comments on this full episode, you can tell how bad this is going to be. Future inmates of the prison population. Well, that's not very nice, is it, Diane? Who pissed on your cornflakes, love? Imagine having to live next door to those little hooligans. It would drive me insane. Again, Wendy's fuming. All I'm trying to say is there's a reason why Supernanny doesn't air this episode on television anymore. As this episode begins, before we're even introduced to the family or the names of the children, we're told that all 4 children have created a mob and their sole mission is to destroy the lives of their parents. As you do, when you're younger, get together, make a little gang, start selling food on the street, we've all done it. So I am intrigued to see if Supernanny has finally went too far and she can't save a family in this one. Let's take a look. So we get a full introduction to the Collins family. We have the dad, Jason, who works full-time in a bakery, and mum, Karen, is a full stay-at-home mother. Now, like I said, they have 4 children, and as the camera pans to each of them, you can tell they're going to be evil in this episode.
Ben, 10, Lauren, 9, Joshua, 6, and Joseph, 4.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Don't know if I'm really trusting Joseph. He's got that sort of like Heath Ledger Joker smile on him. Do you want to know how I got these scars? Not really, Joseph. Okay, keep that to yourself, fella. We then see a compilation of what I would call them committing child terrorism.
It's very hard to control 4 children all at once.
Bro, whose crutches are them? Have they just stolen them? I have not seen anybody walking about on crutches. Unless it's like some sort of GTA cheat code. They've just pressed like up, down, square, and then that's just appeared. Honestly, this is a little bit like a GTA lobby, this house. It's every man and boy for themselves. Also, I do find it kind of odd that these random producers are in this house with kids they don't know, filming them when they're naked. Like, Joseph was just totally naked there. Obviously, they've blurred it, but the actual editing team and the camera crew would have, I don't know if I would feel comfortable being Karen or Jason allowing this.
They constantly hit, spit, and kick each other.
Bro, if you can survive this house, you can survive anything. Like, when they say when you become an adult and you go into the real world, it's a lot harder? Not if you grew up in this family. Everything is going to be a breeze after this. Now, what's even worse is not only do they hurt each other, the kids, they also hurt their mother, Karen, a lot worse.
That's not very nice, is it?
Bro, he's just spat in his mother's face and then laughed. Like, do you know the punishment that most people would get for that? Spitting in your mother's face! What? Bro, I wouldn't even spit in me worst enemy's face if I had one. Like, I would do it. I'd be like, oh, fucking... And they'd be like, oh, sorry, mate, I'm out of order there, aren't I? That was ridiculous. I know I've got this rift, but that was too far. Shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, mate. Can I get you a McDonald's? Is that all right? My bad.
That's not very nice, is it?
Nope.
At least he's self-aware. Now, this happens every single day. There's no respite, and Karen has just given up on disciplining the children.
And I just feel like I've got no energy to kind of fight and argue with them anymore, so it's easier to give in to them most of the time.
Now, obviously, a lot of people watching this, including myself, you're going to think, well, that's not the way to go about this. But again, we're not like in this family. And when she's already really deep into this and, all the emotions that she will be feeling on a daily basis, I can understand why she is feeling run down. But again, you could argue this is, a product of what she's kind of created and how her children don't get disciplined for spitting in your face. Now, on top of wrecking each other and wrecking their mother, one of the kids' favourite hobbies is to also create absolute carnage to the house and destroy it.
Children wreck everything they can lay their hands on.
He's putting the window out, man! Is anyone not gonna say anything. He's robbing his own shed. Surely he knows where the key is. Like, imagine going to this house and being like, oh, Karen, I think someone's like broke into your shed last night. Oh no, that's just my own children. You know, there's just a little hobby they've got. They destroy everything in their path. They're so cute when they're young. I am worried if this is how they act with each other. Like, imagine at school how they act with, you know, kids that aren't even related to them, because they definitely will take this pattern of behaviour into their school. And if I had a child at this school and, you know, these kids were demonstrating the same behaviour, I would probably be a little bit annoyed and kind of worrying for my child as well. Now, we do learn that the leaders of this cult is Joseph, who's 4, and Ben, 10. Not to be confused with the boy that can turn into loads of things by turning his wristwatch, although he would help in this situation if he, you know, if he was free.
I love to be naughty. Mum, it ain't smart, it's stupid, but I love being stupid.
That child could be 10 or also like 50. Do you know what I mean? He could pass for either. He looks like a child, but he also looks like he goes to the pub without telling his wife every night. And I do find it interesting that clearly these kids know right from wrong, but they just choose to do wrong because they know that they can get away with it. And the only respite that Karen gets from these kids is when Jason comes home from work at like 7 o'clock as he, you know, attempts to discipline them.
If it comes to it, I will smack their bums or smack their hands. They know not to cross me.
Now again, I'm not a parent, so I'm kind of out of my depth commenting on this, but I'm just trying to see this from the child's point of view. If you're a child and your punishment is getting like slapped on the wrist or like a slapped bottom, then that's kind of showing that violence in your household is like a normal thing. So I wonder if that's why the kids can't constantly like slap each other, because they're seeing their dad do it and their dad is their example. The most interesting thing is Karen actually hates the way that Jason disciplines them. She says that he's really too hard on them, and every single time Jason tells them off, she then goes and cuddles them, so it's almost like they get like rewarded for, you know, kind of getting told off. And this is creating so much tension between Jason and Karen. They even say that the strain on their relationship has hit like an all-time high and they don't know if they can continue. So obviously when you're in this situation, the only logical thing to do is call a random woman off a TV show who wears a suit to come and fix it. Yes, I'm talking about Supernanny. We then see Jo turn up to the house. She couldn't have picked a more chill time to arrive.
Ben, can you stop swearing?
Do they not have, like, I don't know, like toys? Like, why do they choose to play with things that cause violence? He was hitting some bricks while the other one was swearing his head off, and then he's literally just thrown a brick over the neighbour's fence. Could have killed someone, man. Honestly, living next door to these two, I understand. Was it Wendy in the comments that said she just couldn't do it? I also think I would be a bit like, oh my God, please let there be a war and evacuees leave.
Hello. Oh, can I come in, please? Hi, what's your name?
Also, interesting from a production standpoint there. How come the people with the cameras were already in the house before Jo arrives? Surely they would then know that Jo was arriving on this day. Wouldn't you just stay next to the door? I do that when I've got a delivery. Right? Now when Jo arrives, she doesn't get to work straight away. She likes to observe the family in their natural habitat, like David Attenborough with some seagulls. And honestly, the Collins kids give Jo the performance of a lifetime. But just before we move on, a quick word from this video's partner. Guys, I've got a New Year's resolution to become fitter, healthier, and go to the gym more. However, I also have that resolution every single year, and I never ever stick to it. Some people might say I need a miracle, but this year is different. I'm a new man. I've got something that can create a miracle, and that product is Holy. Making the switch to Holy in 2026 will cut down on your sugar and also keep you hydrated. Now, we've worked a lot with Holy on this channel. If you've never heard of them before, they're a clean, healthier alternative to sugar-packed energy drinks. They do a range of powder-based soft drinks, including energy drinks, iced tea, hydration, and also milkshake now, all with zero sugar, zero bullshit, and all natural flavours. What else can you ask for? And for a short time, their legendary starter set deluxe comes with a New Year's thermo shaker for free. Yes, you heard that right. You can choose from 1 litre or the classic 700ml or a sports lid, all for the same price. I love this lid because you literally can just hold it like this, right? Like, I know that's such a simple thing, but you know how much of a final boss main character I feel walking down the street like this? Just letting it hang, some would say. I don't know why I said that. Now, this is all the same price as a regular starter set with a plastic shaker, £59.99. And with 57 servings of Holy and your brand new thermo shaker, you are ready to complete all your New Year's resolutions in 2026. Click the link in my description and use my discount code and make the switch to Holy today. Genuinely, I use this every single day. I say it every time. I really do love this product.
And can you stop swearing? Get off of there. Come on. Shh, get down.
Mate, nah. We need... I'm not a parent, but, you know, if you're allowed to put straitjackets... Nah, it's too far. It's too far, innit? Wouldn't even stop the spitting. You know, if anything, it kind of doesn't neutralise the problem. It would make him spit more, if that was the only thing he could do. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Why is he celebrating this as well, like he's just scored in the World Cup final, just because he phlegmed over someone's fence? Imagine being the next door neighbour just walking, you know, beside your fence going, oh, he's got 3 phlegms today. That's a world record for him. Great numbers, great statistics. Getting more phlegmy by the day, Michael.
It's not nice, is it?
Sorry, why was that like a look from The Office? That is incredible from Joe. Just... This is mental. This kid just keeps throwing bricks over the fence. Can somebody stop him? How many bricks do we have? To be fair, knowing these kids, they're probably just taking them straight from the structure of the house. Take that David Beckham shirt off him right now. There's only one person loving this tarnishing of his name, and that's Brooklyn Beckham.
You better put that down now.
I mean, that would work on me, to be fair. I guess coming to this house is almost like your first day of prison, right? You've just got to show no weakness. Otherwise, they're going to pry on you and you're going to be their meat. Clearly, Joe didn't even flinch there, but if there's a child who I have seen, you know, throw bricks over the fence just a couple of minutes ago, and they then go to throw a brick at me, I'm flinching. And I don't feel like there's any... you know, kind of embarrassment in that. I feel like that's natural. You would think, though, surely they would put all of the bricks out of sight. To be fair, they probably have hid them in the shed, but as we've seen, they just tear down the shed if they need to.
That's common for Josh to be throwing stuff around.
Yeah, they all throw things.
Not fucking...
Mustn't say that, Josh.
These kids are mental. Just swearing their head off at someone they've just met. Incredible, man. One person I do feel sorry for is the daughter. Like, she seems really sweet. And she seems like she's the only one that has got, like, a level head in this house. I don't know what happened to the boys, but there does seem to be one sane child here. Now, this all happened before the kids were meant to go to school, and obviously Karen has to take them to school. But whilst she's getting them all in the car, one of her children actually escapes.
But once unleashed,
Unleashed.
So we've got 3 kids in the car, 1 child out on the street.
Like, why is he sitting there? As if he's going to, like, platform 3 and 4 quarters. What are you doing? It is interesting, you know, just how children kind of act sometimes. Like, why does a child go, you know what, I'm just going to escape because that's fucking hilarious. I'm just going to piss my mom off so much until she cries because then, you know, I've kind of won the game. Can I play, mate? Is that okay? Sorry, mate, it's not my game. Right, the crying game's actually not invented by me. I used to hate when people would say that in school, by the way. You know, and you'd be like, oh, excuse me, do you mind if I play handstands with you? No, it's not my game. Right, well, that's not really what I asked, though, is it? Sorry, bit of trauma coming out there, guys. Never got to play handstands, but it's fine. I'm just gonna do it all by myself. Yeah, that's probably why they didn't want us playing. Bloody useless. Jesus.
Joshua, come here now.
I mean, yeah, that kid has literally just run on the road without looking. On a bend as well. Honestly, if you close your eyes and just keep walking back, this almost looks like an installment into the Jackass series. There's Johnny Knoxville, right there. Now, Karen does eventually get the kids to school, but apparently they are late, and they're late every single day. They've never been on time. Now, obviously, when the kids are at school, Karen gets a little bit of a break, but very shortly, she does have to pick them up again, and the carnage just resumes where it left off.
the children are back and the chaos starts again.
Like, what is this game? That's what I'm confused by. Like, is he actually trying to smash the window? But why? What does he get out of it? If anything, he's just going to be a bit chillier, you know?
Ben, please don't pour that on the floor. We can wipe that up, can't you?
Bro, it's not funny. It's not funny, so why are you laughing then? Don't know. Right, terrible. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's just the fact that he picked the thing up, a perfectly good drink, and went, Nah, fuck that. I've never seen kids as bad as this on Supernanny. Usually they're a bit younger and they cry all the time and it's mainly an attention thing. But here, it's like the children get off on seeing their mother being miserable.
Stop it! Ben, pack it in. You're really going to break something in a minute. Stop it!
See, this is actually not funny at this point. There's definitely something, or there might be something underlining here. We might find out later in this episode, because this is what happens with a lot of Supernanny episodes. It's not all just black and white, what is actually going on with these kids, but it is very alarming, and this is a really, really violent household. Like the fact that, again, there, a 10-year-old is trying to just smash up the window just because, you know, it's just part of his hobbies, part of his nighttime routine before he goes to bed. It's shocking. No wonder this episode was taken off TV. We're only like 8 minutes in at this point. Now, obviously, this would be very overwhelming for, you know, Karen, the mother, and eventually she does break down in tears because of the children.
I just can't go with them, and they've just had enough, really.
I'm here watching and observing today, okay? We will get to the bottom of this.
I do actually feel bad for her. I know, you know, you can argue that this, you know, she's responsible for this happening, but at the end of the day, she loves her children, and, you know, this will just feel awful because she won't feel that loving back. And all she probably wants in the world is for her children to just behave. Like, that is such a simple thing to want in the world, and she's just not getting that. And it definitely seems like she's alone a lot of the time. Like, Jason is working all day and comes in at 7. So Karen won't even really feel like a person. She'll just feel like a slave or a battering ram to these children. So it is, I'm just saying this just so you can actually humanize her and realize that this is an actual human going through all of this, despite this probably being, you know, part of the repercussions of her actions. Now, later on, Jason eventually does return home.
You alright?
Are we all right? Are we okay? Does it look like we're okay? 4 windows are smashed up. I'm crying, and bloody Supernanny's here. I don't think this is all right, Jason. Actually, I think we're in the shit. Are we all right? We haven't been baking bread all day, have we? Now that Jason is home, Joe actually gets to witness how he disciplines the children, just to give her like more of an image of why the kids might be this way. Now, after seeing Jason discipline the children, it seems like Supernanny actually sides with the way that Jason is trying to discipline the children, and she does criticize Karen, saying that Karen just kind of cuddles them afterwards and is kind of just revoking everything Jason's just done. And I definitely do think this is why the kids kind of walk all over Karen when it's just Karen in the house. And it's also really interesting when Supernanny sits both Jason and Karen down, as she says to them that this is one of the worst families she's ever walked herself into, which is nice to hear. You know, that'll brighten both their days up. But she also says some concerning things, like when the children get older and they get stronger, Karen could be fearing for her life, because at the moment she's able to overpower them despite not really doing it. But soon she won't actually have the option to be able to kind of stop them because they'll be too strong for her. And this makes this case one of the most dark and urgent cases that Supernanny's ever worked on, because time is of the essence here. If this goes on a few more years, Karen could seriously get hurt. But despite hearing this, Karen just can't seem to wrap her heads around like disciplining her children.
Karen, why can't you take your kids off?
I just don't like seeing them upset.
Now, obviously, you don't want to see your children be upset, but when they're trying to break all of the windows, I feel like they've kind of given you the opportunity on a plate and said, it's okay to make me upset right now. Like, what happens if your children murder someone? Are you going to be like, oh, like, you know, I don't want to really say anything, just in case they cry, you know? That you have to draw a line somewhere. But I do understand that this isn't coming from a place of her being stupid. It's just because she feels so much empathy towards her children. Now, after this chat, Supernanny then lays down some fundamental rules, but the kids aren't having it.
No spitting.
No spitting! Well, that's my personality trait gone, love. Thanks for nothing. What am I meant to do with all me phlegm? Swallow it. Oh, Supernanny. More like fucking super fanny. Not me proudest. That one's getting... Justin, don't include that. Please. Nope.
If you spit and you punch, there has to be a consequence for it.
Do that?
Okay, little man, you're going to prison. That's the only way that we can stop it. I know he's the bad egg. I know he's the youngest one, but he's the one that we need to stop the poison coming from. I'm being too harsh here. He's literally 4 years old, bud.
A warning first. Mummy and Daddy are going to say to you.
Like, he's just spat at a stranger there, and none of his parents even backed an eyelid.
And I won't shout, but you have to follow them rules. Okay? You will, Ben?
I won't.
Clearly, Ben's not buying into this. Now, you are going to see later in this episode how the children actually become so much worse under these rules somehow. But before we see that, we see the naughty zones that Supernanny has set up around the house. Now, this is quite a big house, so they're able to have a designated naughty room for each child, just to kind of split them apart so they can't, you know, cause carnage together. And if this doesn't work, Supernanny has also installed a backup plan where basically each of the children are given 10 toys, and if they misbehave, one of their toys goes into like the box with their name on it, which I do find kind of hilarious. Like, imagine if you had like a Spider-Man figure toy and you do one thing like spit at your mother and then Peter Parker is in the box. It's like, what did he do? Surely it should be me going in the box. Although this would then turn into a different kind of series like You off Netflix. But straight away, after all of these new rules, the kids just aren't taking to them. Joseph smacks his daughter, and then when Karen goes to tell him off, he just spits in her face.
You've got to stay in here for a little while, okay? For being naughty. Because you mustn't do that, okay?
But Joseph finds this hilarious. Honestly, spitting to Joseph is like going and seeing a comedy act on stage for an hour. Genuinely, like, this kid is not watching the Numberjacks, he's just watching top 10 biggest spits on YouTube over and over. Is that a video? It probably is. Should I search it? Probably not. When Chloe uses my account next time, she's going to be like, what is this guy into now? That is not the man that I know. Top 10 biggest spits. Actually, be fair, that's my night sorted. I'm going to just get like a Chinese takeaway in and just watch that and just kind of, you know, engross myself in the utter talent of it. What am I going on about? Moving on.
He spits in your face. Bring him in.
And you spit hard. No, you don't. You don't.
And you say to him, you do not behave like that. You do not.
I just want to say though, how do we know that it was Joseph that spat? You know, his t-shirt, it kind of leaves it a little bit miscellaneous. That's what I'm trying to say. You know? How do we know it was him when his t-shirt says it wasn't me? Is anybody going to think about this? Are we not telling off the wrong child here?
Now you stay in this room.
Sorry, what is this room? This looks like the room in a pub that, you know, the people that know the owners would go into, you know? Looks like where some dodgy dealings are taking place. Why is there a fruity machine in it? This is the weirdest room ever. Honestly, like, if I had to guess where this was, I would probably say this is like a social club where I'm from in Newcastle, not a home. They then leave Joseph in this room and give him time to think about his actions, but when they return to the room, Joseph just isn't sorry at all. Also, if you haven't already, Donut, we are closing down on 700,000 subscribers. If everybody watching this press subscribe now, the Donuts would have 700,000 of we're here. Press the button. You get plenty of videos like this to binge watch when you're bored, and would love to have you.
You was rude to me and you spat in my face. And I want an apology now.
You want an apology after he's just spat in your face again? That works. I want an apology, Joe. Oh, fuck. Honestly, I don't even know how you would go about like disciplining these children at this point, because clearly, you know, they're so integrated within their own rules, and, you know, obviously they rule this house. Karen doesn't. So I don't think you can just change this around in one night. I think Supernanny is really going to struggle by the end of this episode.
I want an apology.
Right, there doesn't get one. We go. Let's go.
So they then leave Joseph again, but this time it escalates even more as Joseph just keeps escaping the naughty room.
For the next 10 minutes, Karen struggles to keep Joseph in the naughty zone.
Honestly, Joseph, you've been locked in a room with the sofa and a fruity machine and you're trying to escape that. You're living in luxury, my friend. You're living every man's dream right now. Not mine, to be fair. Never used a fruity machine. Don't even know why I'm trying to act like I'm like hard or something. Never even used one. Oh yeah, like honestly, like playing poker, a fruity machine and just loads of girls around. Isn't that like every man's dream? What am I even going on about? Sometimes I just say things and I'm like, what? What a knob. Now, if things weren't already bad enough for Karen, Ben 10 then starts to act up.
In there now.
To keep the troublemakers apart, Ben is sent to another naughty zone, the dining room.
Bro, at this point, you can't call them naughty zones anymore. The whole house is just a naughty zone. One of them's in the sitting room, one of them's in the dining room, one of them's in the fruity machine with the sofa room, which we're still yet to understand what that room is. Where is the good rooms in this house? That's what I want to know. Now, despite the boys being put into each of their naughty rooms, they all just escape, and for the next few hours, Karen is just trying to get them back into these rooms, but she gets too overwhelmed, and for the first time ever, we see Supernanny kind of take over. Now, normally in these episodes, Supernanny doesn't really take over on the first day, so this just shows how, like, bad it is.
Karen is unable to cope, and Supernanny has to step in.
Bro, I mean, genuinely, I'm not even trying to be harsh here, but if you give me the option to be in the universe of 28 years later or be in this house, I'm choosing 28 years later. At least I've got space to hide. I'm not constricted by full-on naughty zones and these children. I feel so bad for Karen and for Jason. Like, that 4-year-old was in the corner, like prime Mike Tyson, you know? Just, he was doing the Philly shell and everything, man. I feel bad making jokes here, but imagine, just from Karen's perspective, imagine, you know, how she would feel knowing that obviously these are her children, these are the children that she's carried and she's birthed, and, you know, at least 3 out of 4 of them just seem to be just really horrible to her. Honestly, with Jason, I would be surprised if he didn't come out of the womb swinging, just windmilling as he comes out. Right, fucking there we go. All the nurses are getting it. And as this night progresses, genuinely, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
He must take control.
Well, that's not very nice, is it? He also said the C word there. C word, finger, and fuck. The 3 deadly sins. Who told this boy the Deathly Hallows? To be fair, I think this 4-year-old by itself could probably have beaten Voldemort in just one movie. We wouldn't have needed the entire franchise.
In the room.
It does make me wonder though, like, where does a 4-year-old pick up language like that? Is that from his older brother who, you know, picks it up from school? But again, you know, he's only 10 years old. Like, clearly they've got to have been in an environment where this behaviour and speaking like this is acceptable. So it does make you question, do the parents talk like this when, you know, the camera's on there? Or is it the environment at school? There's got to be a reason why these kids feel so comfortable using that and it's never been checked. Now, Joseph eventually does say sorry to Karen, and in Karen's eyes, this is a huge achievement because never in his life has he ever said sorry to his mother. Now, although to everybody else this might seem like such a basic thing, I can understand why this feels like such a huge breakthrough to Karen, and it will give her a little hope that things can change from this moment. But to get that first sorry took so many hours. I don't even know how many hours it's going to take for the second one. Supernanny then goes home and returns the next day, and she sets up like a mini game for all of the children. She basically creates like a treasure hunt, and the aim of the game is to work together to find all of the treasure. And this is the first time we really see the children kind of embracing in a way that isn't kicking lumps out of each other. I think seeing them all having fun together shows that they don't need to always embrace each other with violence. They're allowed to actually be nice to each other and play. Like, the only way to play isn't by hurting each other, because in their minds this is what they think, this is what's normalized here. And during this we really get to see the kids in a totally different light. It's almost like these aren't the same kids as the night before. It's almost like they were all werewolves and there was a full moon yesterday and now they're just back to normal. There is a point where a couple of the kids start to create a little bit of chaos, but Jason just implements some of Supernanny's techniques and it kind of diffuses the situation without creating any violence. And another positive is none of the kids have actually sworn on this day, and nobody has got a black eye either, which honestly, that is like a Hall of Fame day in this house. They might frame the date and stick it on the wall, but one thing that is very clear is when Jason is home, it seems like the kids are a lot more well behaved, but when Karen is alone, that's when she really does struggle to maintain the discipline.
And unless you sit there and tell your son that behaviour is not...
Did you see Ben's face when Supernanny started speaking? He was like, oh, you're still here? Go away. Are you a pedo or something? Coming into a house with children, that's your job, is it? Oh, get your hard drive checked, love. You can tell the kids are sick of that at this point. But one thing I will say is Karen is really trying. We've seen in previous Supernanny episodes we've done where the mother who is struggling doesn't even try. Like, it's almost like she's just given up and she just doesn't think there's any point anymore. So it is nice to see that Karen really does want to make a change. They even do another technique, which is preparing for the morning, because the morning in this household is always absolute chaos getting ready for school. So Supernanny and Karen like prepare the packed lunches, prepare the uniform on the night before, so on the morning everything's prepared to limit the amount of stress. So hopefully in the morning we won't have like a WWE elimination chamber match going on. can. And we don't. Like, this is one of the most zen mornings the Collins family have ever had. Like, all the children are sitting at breakfast, eating their breakfast, and the tension is there. Like, you're just waiting for somebody to do something and everything to just be kind of like unleashed. But they don't. Karen is calm, the kids are calm, and again, we're kind of seeing a total different family. And I've never seen Supernanny turn a family around as quick as this. However, I do feel like in the week that she does leave, everything is going to go back to how it was. But we'll see. And it's actually really nice to see Karen feel appreciated herself.
Joseph woke up this morning and said, "Mummy, I love you." And that just felt really nice after me trying to discipline him.
That's not really nice, isn't it? Like I said, all Karen wants to hear is "I love you," especially after disciplining her, because that's what she was so scared of. In her mind, she built it up that if I discipline my children, they're not going to love me anymore. However, the behaviour that they were demonstrating towards her wasn't signs of love, but she was so stuck in her own mind thinking that that would be the final nail in the coffin, whereas that was actually the start of a new life and this new authority she has over her children, which is going to make her so much happier. Now, what happens whenever the family have like a plus point and they get to a place that they've never been to before? Supernanny will leave and kind of just extract herself for a week and see how the family get on without her. They do this in every episode, and sometimes I do think Supernanny leaves kind of prematurely and could do a little bit more work, but I feel like for the structure of the show, they just get themselves out as soon as a good thing's happened. And I don't know if I've got much faith that the family will stay this way, because things changed like overnight. However, the behaviour and the patterns of behaviour the children have shown have been for years. And literally in the first morning that Supernanny isn't there, things go back to hell despite Karen using these new authority techniques she's learned. Also, if you haven't already, please do drop a like on this video. Apparently it helps us out. Thank you very much.
Right, Joe, listen, Mummy's going to give you a warning now. Come here. Right, let's think now, Joseph.
I love how I think that's the garage now. They just lock them in the garage. It's so funny when you think about it. Go in the garage.
You mustn't run outside, must you? Would you say? Gosh, let's go with the drawer now.
The 6-year-old hasn't even been involved at this point. The 6-year-old wasn't an issue. After Supernanny leaves, he's the biggest one. I definitely know there'll be some like twatty neighbours that'll look outside their window every morning just shaking their head, being like, "Oh God, look at her, Mick, again, trying to contain our little foul beasts." Proper nebby neighbours.
Karen
Bro, wait a minute. Karen, sorry. There's not a headrest on this seat. Has she had to remove it because of how it's basically been kicked off? I imagine so, you know, just from this behaviour we're witnessing right now. This kid could get kicked in the head if he was lying back. If he made a different choice today, he would no longer have a head. Now, I think most people would look at this morning and be like, okay, that was hell. However, Karen says that this is actually better than usual.
And all the children were trying to test me, see how far they could push me, but I wasn't going to take any nonsense, and it did work.
Yeah. Well, I think me and you have got a different definition of what worked means, love. You know, worked. You got them to school. I guess you could call that a success. But what was the cost? Do you know when Thanos said that he fixed the world? Did he really? What was the cost? Half of the people lost their lives, man. This is exactly like this. If you haven't already realised. Sorry if I've just opened your eyes at this point. But this is exactly the same plot of the Avengers. So I do kind of understand what she is saying, though. Like, at the start of this episode, this woman had to enter her own house with a riot shield. And also her neighbours had to go in their garden with a riot shield as well. We're not at that point anymore. But when the kids do return from school, again, they're just really bad and they're not like what they were when Supernanny was here.
Who's that from, Josh? What does that name say?
Mum, why won't you fucking help me?
Right, Ben, you can go in that naughty room there.
You know what, right? I know he's a child, but I don't think I like Ben. Right, I'm just saying it. I think I've got beef with a child. Like, there was no need to speak to your mum like that. Like, there's actually just no excuse to kind of speak that way. You've made that choice to kind of speak in such a derogatory manner. Yes, it can be blamed on, you know, this just being acceptable. But you know that that's not acceptable. You've admitted that. That's just weird, mate.
Fuck off.
Ben, you don't speak to me like that, do you? We'll go in there.
I know someone that would have hated Ben. Pythagoras. Ben wouldn't have had a single point of interest in his studies.
Pussycat, isn't it?
Quick, Ben's escape! Fuck you!
Ben's escaped. It's like he's in Broadmoor or something. Quick, Ben's escaped. Get him. Ben's escaped. I'm glad they've put those rules on the wall. That's helped everybody. Bless this young girl as well, you know. We've not seen a single ounce of, like, her being horrible at all. And I imagine she probably gets, like, no attention off her mother and dad as well because, you know, she doesn't really demand it. Like, the boys demand it, so she probably kind of falls back on getting to spend time with her parents, which is really sad because it's got nothing to do with her own actions.
It's in that room now, Ben.
Go on, Mum.
And she ends up wrestling with her son.
Oh, did you see that? He just gave her a little hook. You know, he went, fuck off. Did you see the venom in his face, man? I saw the veins popping and everything. One person that should not have to witness any of this is bloody Dora the Explorer, man. Hasn't she been through enough getting lost all the time? I mean, if you stop it at this point, it kind of looks kind of, you know, like they're doing a routine on, I guess, like Dancing on Ice or Strictly Come Dancing or something. If we just don't play it and just use our imaginations, this is actually really sweet.
You're not taking it.
Karen eventually manages to separate them.
This really is a gang. Like, another gang member came to back, you know, his fellow gang member up to get away from the ops, and the mother is the only op here. One of the children is even wearing red. We could even, you know, kind of compare this to, like, the Bloods and the Crips at this point. It's that bad.
Don't you bite, Ben?
It takes Karen 45 minutes to regain control.
This is... I honestly, like... This is the worst episode of Supernanny I've ever seen. If there was just one child like this, but the fact there's 3 of them, and they're just coming from all angles. Like, how you've got to just constantly check your shoulder, you've got to constantly scan. Bless Karen, man. And it seems like she doesn't really get any help from Jason as well. Like, I understand this is the dynamic that they've created, and this is the dynamic that they wanted. Like, he goes to work, and she stays at home and looks after the children. But clearly she's overwhelmed, and she needs some sort of assistance here. She's got Supernanny, but for how much longer? She's not here now and she's only going to come back for a day. This is not going to get fixed long term this way. We do actually get some light at the end of the tunnel when, after a couple of hours, Ben does actually apologise to his mother and says that he shouldn't have acted that way.
Sorry.
And don't do it again. Ben, listen, if I tell you you're coming in here, you are coming in here. Mummy means it, Ben.
I do rate again that they've made this naughty room just look like a crack den. You know, it just really emphasises how much you don't want to be in this room. Now, Jason does eventually return home and he actually bypasses all of Supernanny's rules and disciplines the kids in their own way, which obviously just isn't going to help matters as Karen is like following all of the rules she's been taught.
Do not leave this room, do you understand?
Jason then confiscates another one of Ben's toys.
But have they put the radio in Joseph? The radio? What? That kind of ruins it for everyone, though. Surely there's only one radio in the house. Oh, no, there's 2. My bad.
Jason undermines both Karen and the discipline system.
Now, as the week goes on, the kids continue to get worse and worse. And Jason, the dad, continues to break all of the rules that Supernanny set out for them.
Joshua is sent for getting up from his seat.
Straight away, Joshua, first thing he did is went on the fruity machine. Is that the punishment they're actually giving them? Are they like, right, Joshua, go in that room and make this family some money. It's time you started contributing to the mortgage round here. And Jason even starts having to go at Karen when she's actually following the rules that Joe laid out for her.
Karen, you're listening to him.
Jay, you've got to let me sort him out. Don't shout
Well,
at me.
don't, you're allowed to listen to him.
Yeah, but you didn't give me a chance to speak to him.
And again, this just shows the kind of environment they were probably, you know, raising these kids in before, that the children aren't allowed to, like, voice how they feel, or they aren't allowed to talk about their emotions. So the only way that they can kind of exert any emotion they're feeling is through actions and through hitting, you know, each other. Because clearly Jason doesn't even want to hear from the children. And I do understand from his point of view, if you've been at work all day, you're going to be like, can you just like behave? Like, I get that. But you're kind of bringing the stress from work home, and that's not really fair on the kids. And clearly it's having such a detrimental effect here.
You find some little thing that I've done wrong, you go on about it.
Just drop it now.
Even again there, like, you know, Karen's voicing how she feels, and Jason is just being really dismissive and just being like, oh, it doesn't really matter how you feel. Like, you're saying these things that as criticisms of me, I'm not going to respond to them because my ego's hurt, and they're never going to move forward here. And clearly this is getting passed out to their children as well. Again, I'm not trying to act like I'm the perfect person here, because I've probably probably done this loads of times in my life as well. But when you're not emotionally involved in a situation, you can just see it for what it is here and how kind of this is contributing to the toxic household. Nobody is allowed to use their words to describe how they're feeling, so they just choose violence if they're angry. Now, whilst all of this has been going on, Supernanny has been watching on our secret CCTV cameras, the pervert, and she decides to cut a break early as she is fuming with what has been going on.
Oh, come on, Karen. This isn't how you do the discipline. You guys know this.
I don't think Karen can hear you, love. You know, you'll have to shout louder. Right. Now, Joe's first task when returning to the house is to sit both the parents down and kind of criticise them for the week they've had. Most of the criticism actually goes towards Jason and how he's basically shutting down everyone in the house and also treating Karen as if she's one of his children as well, like talking down to her. Like, Jason doesn't see Karen on his level. He thinks that he's at the top and everyone else is kind of like abiding to him. And instead of like teaching the kids some rules, Joe actually implements like a role play game for the parents to teach them a lesson.
But if I actually invaded your space and stood over you and went, listen, how do you feel?
It's kind of hot. No, I'm just didn't realise you had that in you, Joe. You know? Nah, it's joking, guys. Joking. I am.
You're laughing
Yeah.
because I've taken your space.
Yeah.
But that is so true, though. Like, the kids are just going to feel intimidated. And then when they want something, they're just going to intimidate each other and do the same thing. It makes so much sense. The dad is the only male example in their house, so the boys are basically going to think that's how they need to be and how they should act. I said this before.
I told you already that I've done it.
Get up the stairs and do your bedroom now. You came straight to me and then I got defensive and started shouting back.
Yes.
Obviously, this is really tedious to do, especially when you're an adult, but hopefully, I guess this is helping him realise what his actions actually look like to his children. Also, sorry, when all this roleplay was going on, how have I missed the interior design of this house? Like, what are these red squares that are going around? You know, this one's had a chunk out of it. I wonder why. You know, and there's no squares here either. Is this where the door is, possibly? Maybe this is why the kids are so fuming. They just want to be on 60-Minute Makeover, not Supernanny. Now, after the parents use these lessons they've learned on the children, the behaviour of the children does improve over the course of the next couple of days. However, it is now time for Joe to leave forever, like she's not coming back this time. And again, I'm just not convinced that the children are going to be changed fully. I know that's what Supernanny, the show, basically says, that, you know, Joe fixes all these families, but I don't really think that really happened. We do get an update a couple of months later and the family say that they're so much better and that their life has changed.
Previously, I didn't even see them as children. I just saw them as a mob, but now I don't see them as that mob anymore.
Yeah, previously I just saw my children as if they were the cast of Top Boy. Now I don't. I see them for children. You know? It's a miracle!
The children aren't perfect, but Karen is no longer afraid to discipline
I
them.
don't know why they've just shown a naked child. We definitely need to blur that again. But you know, the child putting fairy liquid all over the bathroom floor and then sliding across it despite being told not to, I just don't think we can call that fixed. That's not just down to, oh, you know, kids will be kids.
It's taught me as a parent that you can still be a good parent and put discipline in place.
Now, it will be interesting to hear what you think about this entire episode in general. I definitely think you're going to have a lot of opinions about it. And if you actually think that long term this show actually helped them, I definitely think they did pick up some things and some light bulbs went off on, you know, like Karen being able to discipline her children now without feeling guilty, and also Jason not being as like so intimidating to the children. But I am still yet to be convinced if this was, you know, the fix of them. The comments on the video, like I said in the intro, definitely don't think so either. I'm a nanny. If I walked into that house for a job interview, I'd turn around and walk right back out. Not enough money in the world would compensate me for that kind of stress. Ben is more than old enough to know better. Mum needs to grow a pair. Purposely spitting at people is absolute subhuman behaviour. But yeah, a lot of people just saying that the children are future prisoners. Hopefully everyone who featured in this episode is doing really well today, because as we've seen with previous Supernanny episodes, you know, a reflection of how someone acts as a child isn't who they become when they're an adult all of the time. Now, I don't actually have an update where any of the family members are today. I did try and look, but again, when stuff isn't readily available, I don't want to kind of stalk too much and just kind of reveal information that people don't want out there. Clearly, everyone who was featured in this episode does want to live more of a private life, and I want to keep it that way. But if you do want to watch another video from me, Donuts, please please do click this video right here. It's on the most toxic super nanny family we've ever seen. Genuinely, if you thought this family was bad, you have seen nothing until you've seen this video. I'll see you over there. Drop a like if you want more super nanny videos. See you in the next one. Bye bye.